All right, I'm showing 5:15. I think it's ready to go. Welcome to the Cisco U Theatre for this running of Are You Smarter Than a Network Engineer? This is a session full of trivia questions that come off of our CCNA and CCNP blueprints. And the idea here is just to have some fun. Now, if you are watching remotely over the stream, welcome. You are definitely encouraged to play along. But unfortunately, you were not qualified to win one of our wonderful prizes because I can't send this through the YouTubes yet. Maybe someday we'll get to that point, but for now, you're just playing along for the joy and the impressions to say that you've won. So please scan the QR code, enter the code of U-Trivia, and you have a chance to try your might against all of us here at Cisco Live in Melbourne. Now, we do have some prizes. I've got prizes for first and second place. Now, if you work for Cisco, unfortunately, you can't win a prize, but you can still compete. You get the honor for that, right? But please join in as it goes through. Now, before we jump into the questions, how do you earn points? How do you win? This is a trivia game. It's also just for fun. And so if you disagree with the answer that I say was the right answer, right, just come talk to me afterwards, right? I certainly could have made a mistake, but this is just for funsies. The prizes are pretty nice, but they're not worth having a scene here in the theater, right? So we'll stick with that. You get points and credit for the questions for two reasons. Number one, and the most important, is getting the right answer, right? Clearly, that is the most important thing. After that, it's speed-based. And so let's say two people, both of you get the right answer, but you go a little bit faster, you get more points for that question as it's end. So the end of the game, the leaderboard is based on number of questions correct and how long it took you to get those questions correct as it goes in. All right, makes sense? Any questions on the questions? Excellent. All right, I killed some time. We're up to 10 people. We hit double digits. I think that's enough. That's fine. We've got a few more. We got plenty of time. Once I get started, you can still join in. Again, the QR code is here, and then if you're asked for a code, it's U-Trivia to start up. All right, have your phones ready. I'm getting ready to kick on these. I think there are 30 seconds for each question. You'll be able to see it on your phone as well as up here. And as I read through it, I like to read them. It gives me something to do while you're all answering the questions, but you can look at your phones and jump through. So let's dive in with our first question. Wait for it to go through. There it goes. What is the final tiebreaker for spanning tree decisions? The final tiebreaker. 19 seconds to go. Seeing answers come in. Now, don't be intimidated because we have our spanning tree expert here in the audience. Absolutely. 3 seconds. There's no penalty for wrong answers, so definitely feel free to guess as it goes in. All right. Logs are in here. Let's see. What do we have? Reveal the answer. Our answer is sender port ID, which was 33% of our pieces. If you did attend Patrick's session and you got the right answer, great job, you pay attention. If you attended Patrick's session and you got the wrong answer, it's recorded on YouTube and you can go back through and check that material again. All right, next question. Here we go. I'm waiting for an image to render. There it is. What does the -D mean in this command? The -D. All right, this is an automation question, comes from our DevNet Associate blueprints. What does -D mean in this command? Seeing some answers come through. Ooh. All right, 0 up. Let's see what our distribution is. We've got almost half of you say delete the container after it's running, followed by running container in the background. All right, is anybody working on their DevNet Associate or DevNet Professional certifications? No. If you were, I would hope that you knew the answer is indeed run the container in the background. There it goes. -D in this case stands for, oh boy, I just drew the blank. Daemon. -D stands for daemon, a service running in the background. In the command, the --rm tells it to delete the container as it goes through for remove on that side. Excellent. All right, so that was our second question. Moving right along to question number 3. Which of the following represents the signal strength of a wireless network at the client? Is that our RF power, our SNR, our bandwidth, or RSSI? Which one of these represents the signal strength of a wireless network at the client? If you're just joining, still plenty of time, lots of questions to go. QR code in the corner, we'll let you join on up. All right, so our distribution, pretty even Stevens up here in RF power and SNR. RSSI is down. Nobody thought it was bandwidth. All right, nobody thought it was bandwidth. That's good. Correct answer on this one is RSSI, received signal strength indicator. RF power is at the antenna, how much power is being pushed out, right? So that's the antenna side. SNR is signal to noise ratio, right? Every wireless transmission has the signal, the important stuff, as well as all the noise, such as microwaves and Bluetooth and all that other stuff. SNR is the ratio between them, so how strong the signal is compared to the noise. But RSSI represents the strength of the signal at the client. Next question, moving right along. Which OSI layer is responsible for creating frames? I'm a little redundant in that question. But which OSI layer is responsible for creating frames? All right, seeing the answers come in, we're feeling strong on this one. I do like that the OSI model continues to be relevant even in this long overdue days that are out there. I had to learn it when I studied, and it's still important. So layers 1 through 4, those are the ones of the OSI model that I think network engineers generally pay attention to. Sometimes we forget there's layers above layer 4. What do we have? Layer 2, 64%. Well done. Well done. Layer 2 gives us frames. What do we get at layer 3? Just shout it out. A little louder. Packets. Absolutely. And what do we get at layer 4? Datagram. Yeah. Segments is usually what I refer to them as, right? Is what we get at layer 4 when we wrap that in a TCP or a UDP header. All right, moving right along, what do we end up with? Ooh, this one's kind of mean. What special characters or keystroke is needed to create this VLAN, where the VLAN has the $ in the name? Now, way back when I started taking certification exams, we actually asked questions like this on exams. I'm glad to say we don't do that anymore. We stopped asking these terrible, terrible questions. However, it's kind of fun for a trivia game like this when the prizes are just things like here and not an actual certification exam. So what special character or keystroke allows you to create a VLAN with a $ in the name? All right, we got all sorts of things in here. Controller $, a slash. I always go for this one, right? The escape character. Maybe that's what we need on that. Correct answer actually is Control V. Right? I don't know why. We'd have to ask some iOS developer down there. And be thankful that you didn't need to know that for your CCIE exam. Actually grab this off of an old sample CCIE route switch exam. I'm glad that was not asked anymore. In our row up here, we've got Yusuf that runs our certification program. You can personally thank him for not having those questions anymore. All right, moving right along to our next question. All right, here's another one with some images, right? A nice AI one. Hold on. The images will come. All right. Which one of the following does not represent an AI, an artificial intelligence technology? All right, some good choices here. One of these does not represent an AI technology. It's tough, right? All right. The answers are coming in. Remember, no penalty for wrong answers. Which one does not represent an AI technology? All right, so we've got 4, the 2 dolls, right? Correct answer on this one is number 3. So we have Rocky, right? That's really important for artificial intelligence, right? It's related to kind of how the fabric is built. We've got Llama. That's an LLM out there from someplace. We've got DALL-E 2, right? Another artificial intelligence one. But as long as I haven't run across a WALL-E artificial intelligence protocol or LLM yet on that side. I'm seeing some head shakes. They can't all be certification grade, right? It's just for funsies. All right, I will say there's at least one more fun artificial intelligence question like this. You can all laugh at that one as well when it comes up. All right, moving right along. Question number 7. Another one with an image. Hopefully it comes up fast. Yeah. In the following image, what does this string of characters represent, which is located right here? So what does that string of characters represent in this image? Seeing some answers come in. Ooh, they're evenly balanced. Now, this would also obviously come from our DevNet certifications that are there, DevNet Associate, Professional, or Expert. We would expect to understand how to diagnose these. We are pretty evenly matched across here with API token there. Right? I would say API token is a reasonable expectation on that side, but the correct answer here is actually encoded username : password. Right? As we go through on this, there's different ways to authenticate an API. The key aspects here is this basic keyword. Basic authentication for a REST API takes the username, a colon character, then the password, and then encodes that using base64. It's encoded, which means it's reversible, which means it's not secure, right? It's not encrypted. Encrypted credentials would mean we couldn't undo it. But you could simply take this string of characters, and in fact, if you unencode that, it really is just username : password with a capital U and capital P. That's what that would look like in our headers. Okay, moving right along to our next question, question number 8. What class of IP address is 225.101.23.234? Is it class A, class B, C, D, or E? Which class of IP address is that IP? Questions coming in, or answers, choices coming through. Excellent. All right. Our answer choices here are heavily weighted towards the bottom half of the classes, with class D getting 50% of the votes. Correct answer on this one is indeed class D. There it goes. Class D. Class D, multicast addresses. This is a multicast IP address, right? Our class A's would be our 10s. Our class B's would be kind of in that 128 range. Class C, 192s. Then we get 224, 225, I think, a D. And then class E comes up at what, 240? 240 are our class E's on that side. Excellent. All right, moving right along. Our next question here. What is least preferred in the BGP best path algorithm? Which of these is the least preferred? This would come off of our CCNP enterprise style, so ENCOR, probably ENRC as well. So which of these is least preferred in the BGP best path algorithm? All right. 3 seconds. Get your answers put in. All right. This one's a bit tougher as it goes in. Nice distribution. Correct answer on this one is, I'm hesitating to say because I was right. MED is our least preferred on that side, right? That's the least preferred algorithm. All right. Did you get it right, Yusuf? He did. Yusuf got it right. Well done. All right. The best path algorithm, obviously with BGP, we don't pick routes. We pick paths to routes, and there are different attributes that go in. All right. Knowing that is really important at that CCNP level when we're going for ENCOR, ENRC. All right. Moving right along, what is the administrative distance of OSPF? Is that 90, 110, 120, or 130? If you're studying for your CCNA, you would need to know this, and maybe you've watched Patrick and I talk about CCNA preparation. Very recently, we talked about OSPF and routing capabilities. Administrative, yeah, and we are back tomorrow morning talking more about routing because that's critical. Right, admin distance, the measure of the trustworthiness of the source of a route, right? In this case, lower numbers are better. So which one is OSPF? We've got heavy, 60% of us say 110, which is excellent to see. You know your administrative distances. Which routing protocol has an administrative distance of 90? Anybody know? Just shout it out. EIGRP, great. What about 120? RIP, yeah. The much maligned routing protocol. I like RIP, particularly for learning how routing works. I wouldn't actually run it in my network, but to learn about how routing works is fantastic. What about 130? Yeah, good. Nothing. I just needed a fourth answer, right? So 130 is the one I made up. That is not a routing protocol. Moving right along, we're halfway done, moving into the second half with question 11. In which of the following technologies is white space relevant? Spaces, tabs, that type of thing. In which of the following technologies is white space relevant? This clearly comes out of our DevNet certifications in that space, but also something that shows up even, I think, at the CCNA level. We talk about JSON and YAML and XML on that side, right? Understanding where they're relevant. All right. Distribution here, ooh, heavy push on YAML, which is fantastic because that is our correct answer. In YAML, white space is super relevant. So much so that it's really frustrating the number of times I've had to go hunt for a missing or extra white space in a YAML file. Both JSON and XML can ignore white space. You could put in 1,000 extra white spaces in tabs, or you could take every single white space in tab out. Both of those data formats wouldn't care. Yang, not really a data format, it's a data modeling language, but also white space is not relevant in Yang either. All right, moving right along, question 12. Oh, here's my other AI question. All right, the pictures will show in a minute. Which of these fictional AI characters would you trust to keep your network running at all costs? Which of these fictional AI characters would you trust to keep your network running at all costs? All right, some important ones in here. Seeing the choices come in. Which one would you trust to keep your network running? All right. Ooh. Interesting collection of options here. All right, so data from Star Trek got 38%. Nobody would trust the guy from Alien? Right? I don't know why. This one bugs me. It scares me a little. Hale gets that many of the votes. And even a few people would trust Miss Minutes from Loki, right? Now, remember, these are up to me what the right answer is. And I would trust data. Why would I trust data? Because every one of these other ones would take the words at the literal meaning, right? Nobody ever wants to keep your network running at all costs. I would hope that every one of your organizations would value your life over the running of the network. Data would know the difference, but he wouldn't, Hal wouldn't, Miss Minute certainly wouldn't on that side. So given the choice, always trust data. Always trust data. Moving right along. Next question. Which of the following is true based on this image? Okay, so we've got an image here for the output of show NTP association, but looks better on your phones. But which of the following is true? All right. 8 seconds, 5, 6, somewhere in there. Lock those answers in. All right. Distribution is here. We've got some options that are in place. We've got, all right, correct answer on this one is, where'd my cursor go? Is down here. The server is 1.24 seconds ahead of the client. So we have an offset of 1.24. We know the server's ahead because it's positive 1.24. If it was negative 1.24, then the server would be 1.24 seconds behind the client on that side. Right? These other ones factor into different aspects that are there. NTP shows up in our IP services section of the CCNA blueprint, and being able to track that status is really critical. All right, moving right along to our next question, question 14. All right, which is an advantage of a distributed version control such as Git? Right, another one from our software skills, programmability skills. Even though this is highly important for DevNet, it does show up in our enterprise professional as well as our, I think, CCNA. We talk a little bit about Git skills. All right, answers are coming in, looking great. Which is an advantage? All right. Answers come in. I like this 60% because that is indeed an advantage of a distributed control system. We look at some of these other choices, right? Automating the test and deployment of code changes. That would be an advantage of a CI/CD system, continuous integration, continuous delivery. Consistent configurations across environments, right? That would be something like infrastructure as code would give us that ability. Maybe using containers. Describing infrastructure in machine readable files. That's purely infrastructure as code on that side. But from distributed version control, multiple developers contributing to the code base. That's the value there. We're moving into the last quarter of our questions. Still plenty of time left here to nail this down. How many unique IPv6 addresses are there? Are there 340 undecillion, 128 quadrillion, 256 trillion, or 4 billion? How many unique IPv6 addresses are there? Ooh, answer choices coming in. I think we can agree that there are a lot of them, no matter what the right answer is. All right, where do we go? Okay, top of the order here, 340 undecillion. I didn't even know that was a number when I put this question together, but in fact, that is our correct answer, right? 4 billion would be IPv4 addresses, right? So definitely IPv6 is more than that. 128 quadrillion, it's a 128-bit address, but we have more addresses than that, right? And obviously more than 256 trillion. So 340 undecillion. Question 16. All right, what was Bridge IT, which is just Chat GPT inside of Cisco's, answer to the prompt in 5 words or less? What is the meaning of life? Right, another AI question. It's really been on my mind lately. What do we trust it for, right? What do we maybe not trust it so much for just yet? Was it assimilation, purpose, power, or making paper clips? A few more seconds. Man, I really appreciate the positive thinking that you all have. I also respect whoever is really worried, right? I still worry about paper clips and our artificial intelligence that's out there. However, I will say that I was quite happy when I asked the question, and Bridge IT, or we affectionately call her Bridget, did say purpose, fulfillment, connections, growth, and happiness, right? I'm still worried that someday we'll have an artificial intelligence that's more interested in one of these other ones, but that's the conspiracy theory kind of cynic in me a little bit. But maybe we'll get lucky and purpose fulfillment is what artificial intelligence will bring us. All right, we're coming down to the last few questions here. What is...
Welcome to the Cisco Live Happy Hour. Over the next hour, please make sure you visit the Purpose Pavilion, Sustainability Zone, Cisco, Crisis Response, and Capture the Flag Stands, all located within the hub. And while you are there, please check out and support the amazing work done by our Cisco Live charity Orange staff. Enjoy a specialty drink located on our Emerald sponsor stands. Enjoy happy hour.
All right. Definitely enjoy happy hour. There are drinks. We'll be able to get to those in just a moment. But what is a software tool that takes advantage of a weakness in a system? So we've got threat, vulnerability, exploit, and virus. Your choices should be showing up momentarily. Come on. I can see them, so I don't know why they're not. All right, maybe if I hit the button. All right. Exploit was highly picked, which is great because that is indeed the correct answer. An exploit is a software tool that takes advantage of a weakness in a system. The weakness in a system would be the vulnerability, right? Vocabulary sometimes seems like the specifics may not matter as much, but particularly when we talk about security and you're having discussions with your cybersecurity team or your security team, being able to understand what these words mean, it is important. It also is very important when you're taking your certification exams. Even at the CCNA level, we kind of drill into the difference between each of these. So it is critical to know those differences. All right, moving right along to our next question. Question 18. What TCP port is the standard port for the netconf protocol? Netconf, one of the new standard interfaces for programmability out of the IETF. So which port is the standard for netconf? Is it 22, 800, 830, or 10,000? Ooh, seeing the votes come in, which I like to see. Lots of you know your protocols and know your ports. That's awesome. All right. Will it give us the distributions? Yes. All right, so 81 of you said 80 or port 830, which is indeed the correct answer. So well done on that. Standard port for netconf is 830, but like many network protocols, it can be changed, right? Netconf runs on SSH, so 22 would have been a reasonable choice, but the netconf application will still be listening on port 830 by default, right? 10,000 is in here because several years ago when we first started having DevNet sandboxes for netconf, they forced us to use non-standard ports. And so there was a time where everybody thought netconf ran on port 10,000 because that's what our sandbox used. Thankfully, we've been able to move beyond that now. And so now we actually use 830 for most of the sandboxes. But 830 is our TCP port. All right, our second to last question coming our way. Question 19. Which type of tunnel supports multicast traffic? What type of tunnel supports multicast traffic? Would that be an SSL VPN, an IPsec VPN, GRE, or Q&Q? Which type of tunnel supports multicast traffic? Seeing the answers come through. All right. I can see many of you know your tunnel types here. GRE, 73% of the votes, which is fantastic because that is indeed the correct answer. Generic routing encapsulation, one of the big values of it is its ability to send multicast traffic or routing protocols. So seeing things like GRE in IPsec so that we can have that type of traffic work is often common. SSL VPNs don't support it, and Q&Q is for VLAN inside of VLAN pieces on that side. Not exactly relevant, though, on that piece. All right, our final question. Our final question has come here. All right, this one is another interesting one, and I actually just heard this one recently. And so another fun question, not necessarily straight off of a blueprint. It's not artificial intelligence related, but it's still a good one. What is the record for the most number of CCIE lab attempts by a single candidate before passing? The most number of attempts before passing. Is it 5, 10, 20, or 25? What is the record for the most number of attempts? Oof. Like the answers coming through here. All right. Lock those choices in. What is the record? All right. Nobody thought it was 5. All right. Probably accurate on that side. A lot of people take 5 attempts to go after it. I personally took 3 to get my CCIE, so that's good. All right. 10, 20 got our most, and 25. Those of you that picked 20, well done. 20 is the record for the most number of attempts before passing their CCIE. That candidate did pass it on their 21st attempt. I will give them this. That is a lot of persistence, but they did make it to the end zone. So that was fantastic for them. All right, that brings us to the end. All 20 questions that are there. Who out there has the confidence that thinks they're the top of the leaderboard? I thought you were going to go for it, and then you went down. All right. All right, so just a reminder on this. Thanks you. This was just a fun game. I do have some prizes. If you are top of the leaderboard and you work for Cisco, great job. We really appreciate your knowledge of the network, but you can't win a prize, right? But we will move on from there. So let's see where we land. Reveal our leaderboard. Morden Kanan. Great job. Morden Kanan is up here in the front row. He does work for Cisco and also is one of our instructors for both CCNP and CCNA. So I'm glad to see you did well. I also think Dave, who is all of our boss, was pretty happy that you did well on that one. Where is Emily with 12 questions? Emily, great job. Do you work for Cisco? All right, so you have a chance at a prize. Where is Jack? Do you work for Cisco? All right, number 2 and number 3, you both will win prizes for that. Thank you so much for joining on that side. If you were playing along at home, thank you also for joining in this fun game of trivia based on Cisco certifications. We'll be back in the Cisco U Theatre for more sessions very shortly. Emily and Jack, come on up here and we'll get your prizes, and we will see you all again soon. Thanks. All right.